well, how do there, people in the viewerverse? Yeah, I lost track of the time there. I was nearly late for my own live stream. It's a rarity that would happen, people. I guess. Anyway, it's a cup of tea with Captain Steve. Here's my cup of tea. And what am I going to be talking about today? I'm going to be talking about a tweet over on the Twitter sphere that sort of slipped me by. Anyway, we'll be covering that one off. Well, how do? Yeah, oh, the community mission not complete yet, says Assistant No Man's Sky. No, I was about to ask you about that. In fact, Mr. Assistant No Man's Sky Kurt, I just hit you up with a message on your Twitterverse. I know you said January 12 o'clock. I didn't know whether that was 12 in GMT, BST, UK time, or whether it was midnight, you know, but it seems to have stopped, mate. It seems to have stopped at 89%. We'll jump over into game and have a look at that in a moment. Yeah, I just sent you a message, look. Is something wrong with the timer? Yes, I'll just send that over to you, buddy. But anyways, you're inside of the chat, so maybe you know more than we do. Just drop it in the chat, mate. Anyway, let's just jump into game quickly, and I'll show you what I mean on the old timer and stuff. Here I am, inside of game. I'm inside of No Man's Sky by Quicksilver Synthesis Agent, and the cape there is at 89%. It seems to be that that timer has sort of slowed and stopped at that 89% mark, where we was half expecting it to pop around about, what, half an hour ago or so? It hasn't. It's just stayed there, people in the viewerverse. So, don't know what's going on there. Don't know whether it's broken or whether they've slowed it down on purpose or something. Who knows? Anyway, people, what about this tweet? This tweet that I was on about, peeps. Let's go and hit that one up, shall we? Here we go. Ow! Right, so I'm over inside of the Twitter sphere now, people. So, yeah, over here, we've got a tweet from Sean Murray. Now, this was on the 3rd of January. I retweeted this, but I didn't really read it, because all the tweets either side of it were about Joe Danger and how it was available on a website, and how good 22 has been, and how much work they've done, and blah, 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 and this, that, and the other. This one says, thank you for making No Man's Sky one of the most played and best-selling games on Steam again in 2022. Let's make 2023 a big one. Okay. Well, that's tantalizing stuff, isn't it, people in the viewerverse? It really is. So the way I'm reading this is it's not a big year for Hello Games. It's going to be a big year for No Man's Sky in 2023, and they're going to make it a big one. So I'm wondering whether this is the year that we might see some very large updates hitting the No Man's Sky verse. I mean, I could be interpreting this completely wrong. This could just be saying that they're hoping to get some more up for more awards or something like that, or maybe hitting the top of the Steam charts again this year. But I don't see how they can do that without putting out updates. Oh, hello there, Miyogi. Welcome, Miyogi. Haven't seen you for a while, chap. I was wondering if you was okay. In fact, I did speak to you the other week. I know you've had a lot of real-life stuff going on. So, yeah, it's good to see you here, though, buddy. And thank you for your support. 15 months. That's an achievement. Heck yes. I sent it to you in GMT. They might have changed the end of the CM to give themselves more time. I can't check right now, but I'll look into it. Nice one, Assistant No Man's Sky. Thanking you, sir. Yeah, once I hear back from Kurt, if it's some juicy goss, I'll be sure to share it with you guys, people in the viewerverse. Heck yes, I will. Right. Anyway, because they've talked about Steam here, once again in 2022, blah, 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 I figured we'd have a look at the old Steam charts. Over to here, where you can see down here roughly where we are right now. 11,000 concurrent players this month so far, but what you want to do is look at complete months. So December of 2022, 12,475. If you look at the month of the previous year, it's pretty comparable, you know. I wouldn't look at months prior, because whenever there's a peak, like the 40,000, that's when we had an update. That's when Polestar came out with the whole freaking lovely new interiors for freighters, I believe. Yeah, so yeah, you don't really want to compare it to that, but what you can do is go on to Steam and compare it against other games. So No Man's Sky versus Elite Dangerous over the last 7 days. Look at this. So No Man's Sky is the green line, okay? So green line, No Man's Sky, blue line, Elite Dangerous. And look at that. It's pretty much echoed. But that's only like the last 7 days. What happens if we go to 1 month? The same freaking thing. Okay, so a lot of people out there in the viewerverse are saying that No Man's Sky is dying. It was and it's pretty much dead. But no, compare it to other games in the same sort of genre, and you're going to see exactly the same sort of patterns when it comes to waves. Okay, let's go to 3 months. Let's see if it stays the same. Pretty much. And then 6 months, you're going to see slight differences because No Man's Sky does put out some pretty darn hefty updates every now and again. And 1 year, you're going to see that, No Man's Sky outshines. Okay, but when you go to a flat month where there have been no updates, it's almost identical. Let's just throw in another game. Fallout 76. Okay, it's not... Okay, Fallout... Yeah, it's for there. Fairly similar. And that's not even the same genre, but at least it's an online multiplayer sort of game world where you can build things out, customize your character, that sort of shenanigans, and you're seeing the same patterns. It's not rocket science, people. I mean, at the end of the day, a lot of people... This is Steam, okay? So it's going to be a different player base to the console gamers. I mean... If you're under the age of 14 or something, you're probably going to be playing on the likes of Xbox, PlayStation, Switch, aren't you? Which isn't included in this chart. So a lot of PC gamers are the older audience that can afford a PC, build a PC and all that sort of shenanigans. I mean, all of these games are going to need a pretty high-end PC to play. So it's Steam charts, and it only gives you an idea, like a synopsis of what's going on. So yes, it's good as to trend a game, but it's not really good to trend an audience, because right now over the Christmas break, it's not the adults playing the games. They're supervising freaking kids on new bikes and stuff, or helping them set up a console. It's a different audience, so it's going to be flat this time of year. You can't really go by Steam, is what I'm pretty much saying. Okay, so we're jumping over onto the Twitter sphere. Now, on the lead on up to a Waypoint, there was quite a lot of hype generated by the actual content creators, myself included, and others. But was it warranted? And I think it was, because back in May, so this is just before we got, like, Polestar and the freighters and maybe even the living frigates, it's lovely to hear people starting to say that they don't know what else they would add to No Man's Sky, but our list is still pretty long and increasingly weird. Okay, so that kind of alludes that they've got quite a lot planned for this year, doesn't it? Reading between the lines, and a lot of it is going to be fairly weird. I'll let you just read into that for a second. Oh, look, there's my post. There's all the stuff that I sort of listed out. Yeah, I've still got a long list as well. Hello, games. Yeah. But yeah. So anyway, we got Leviathan. We got the Polestar update. We got some weird-looking frigates. Maybe that was it. But then after that, we had Sean Murray find this sort of thing where he can splice emojis together. And we also had a counterpart in his team who actually tweeted out, "Oh, we're running out of emojis for our updates. What can we do?" And then Sean Murray, a couple of days later, he tweeted this to show that you can now splice emojis together so you can have a robot freaking octopi and all sorts of other stuff. It's pretty darn awesome. Almost sort of hinting that, okay, we haven't got a lot of emojis to do for the freaking updates anymore, but you know what, it's not a problem because we can now splice emojis. So I was half expecting, rather than to get a telescope emoji for Waypoint, was to get one of these spliced emojis to give us more of an insight of what the update might be. That didn't actually happen, people, but because it happened around July, I was thinking, well, 4.0 could be a big one. They might have to merge 2 emojis just to get their point across. The speculation was going the sort of right way. Now, at the time that 4.0 update dropped, it dropped in October, and Sean Murray put this out to say the idea of releasing a major update at the same time as the Switch 4.0 update was just about as silly enough to make us want to try. We've been working our socks off. Now, they have said that in the past. When they brought settlements and frontiers into the iteration, they said we're working our socks off, and they delivered something fairly big because we got all the base parts, didn't we? All those additional base parts. But no, we didn't see anything quite that sort of size come into Waypoint. We had a slight UI overhaul and the boosted slots and a retinkering and rebalancing of things, but I wouldn't have said that that was an update, a major update. Not a major update. I don't think they delivered a major update, even though they sort of half claim that they tried and did. I don't think they did. Anyways, when you put in a No Man's Sky and update and you're scrolling around in here, looking at all the times that Sean Murray has mentioned the word update, you're going to come across sort of mentions of the word socks as well, alongside of the updates as well, to show that, you know, working our socks off, all that sort of shenanigans. But I feel that there was quite a lot of hype coming from Sean Murray on the lead up. This is. Oh, I did do one on Sean Murray's lead up to this. I think I removed it in the end because, yeah, although there was hype, it was mainly just lots of images and things and suggested stuff. But let's put in the word socks. Let's just have a look. Times he mentions about working their socks off. Here we go. Coming this summer, 2018, No Man's Sky Next. We have been working our socks off. Okay. Well, Next was probably the biggest update, to be fair, people. And yes, they did work their freaking socks off. But yeah, working down here, we're working our socks off. Yeah, that was in 2022 in September. So yeah, it's a bit of an oddity, isn't it? You know? Yeah, talking about the Switch version and stuff like that. Yeah, and we're working our socks off on the new version. Yeah, so it does make you, when they say we're working our socks off, it kind of makes you think, well, we're in for a big treat. Especially since 4.0 was on the horizon when they said this. The last time they said that it was around the time of working on Next, but they have used that term quite a fair bit. There it is with the 4.0 update. I don't think 4.0 was anything close to friggin' whatever. But here it is again when they're working their socks off around the type of frontiers. So what I'm trying to say to you guys in the viewerverse is I don't think we can go by patterns this year. I honestly don't. Don't worry, I'm going to come to the live chat in a moment, people, and have a quick read through of what you guys have been saying and sort of respond to all that sort of shenanigans. But I just wanted to get this out there. Now, although that they've said that 2023 might be a big year, we've kind of seen in 2022 fairly meaningful updates with the Sentinel update and also the update to our freighters. But it doesn't seem to be... But they've added a little bit of depth in those two areas, and in combat. They have. I can't take away from them what they did in 2022 because they did quite a lot. Even though it didn't feel as much as what they'd done in 2021 or 2020, there was a heck of a lot more to do back then. You know, we're now getting to the point where they're adding in what almost feels like extras rather than depth. I hope that this year they add depth. The only thing is, will people see depth as content? That's the question. I'm hoping they get rid of all the bugs and add in some depth and bring back some replayability and maybe even some sort of, I don't know, professions or something that people can pick up and actually do in game that actually feel worthwhile. But then with the changing of difficulty modes, maybe they've shot themselves in the foot for replayability and coming back and longevity, since you can just sort of cheat your way through it if you really want to. I mean, I haven't locked out my settings. I know people are going to say, well, just lock your settings. I haven't done that for fear that they might bring out a massive grind to an update at some point, just to add extra padding into the game instead of longevity and replayability and bringing people back through playing, you know? And if they do bring in a massive update that brings in a shed load of unneeded or unwarranted grind, then yes, I want to swap the game mode to sort of skip bits after I've done it the first few times, because I just ain't got time for that. Anyway, let's jump on over. Let's have a quick look at what's been happening inside of the live chat. We've got a fair few hellos. 2023, big year for the best games coming out that would kill off No Man's Sky, in my honest opinion. Chemical Romance makes a freaking good point there, people. Let me just have another little sip of this, and I'll get to that. So yes, in 2023, we're hoping to see Starfield land. Now, Starfield is quite a large competitor of No Man's Sky, and also Elite Dangerous. As you can see there, it's got similar sort of wave patterns as No Man's Sky. I mean, let's just jump back over to that reactions-y type thing. Let's go over here. Boom. Now, Fallout 76, I'm surprised to see it having higher numbers across the board to No Man's Sky. Honestly thought No Man's Sky would top Fallout 76, but no, there seems to be quite a high player base for Fallout 76. That surprised me somewhat. Let's just take that out, so we're just looking at Elite Dangerous. But, you know, Elite Dangerous even, you know, it hasn't had any major updates, not really. It had Space Legs or Odyssey or whatever you call it, but that sort of took away players. But it almost seems that in the last, 7 days or so, it's not far off No Man's Sky. And I would have said Elite Dangerous was a pretty much dying or dead game now. In a roundabout way, it's only got its real core, hardcore fans playing it. I don't think it's drawing new players. So it's a bit worrying to see that on Steam, over on the PC, No Man's Sky isn't far off of Elite Dangerous numbers during a flat month when there's not been an update. That's kind of concerning. That is kind of concerning in a roundabout way. But, you know, if Elite Dangerous put out a big update right now, it could soar above No Man's Sky. So there is that too. But I think, you know, the likes of Starfield is going to put up that bar, that sort of extra sort of barrier for them to sort of jump to. The extra threshold or benchmark. Benchmark, that's a better word. A benchmark for them to attain to. I mean, I know that I'm going to be jumping over to Starfield. I want to go to every planet and catalogue the planets. I want to find out how much fauna's there, how many minerals there are, what minerals there are to gather, etc., etc. I want to start making a space catalogue of every single planet inside of Starfield. I'm not really bothered about the gameplay as much, not really. Depends how good the lore is. I love the lore of No Man's Sky because it was kind of very obscure, it's very vague, and there's many different interpretations that you can take with it. I'm hoping that Starfield has got a little bit of that in it. It does look like it's got a bit of an alien vibe to it that could be quite cool to uncover. So I might do the odd story sort of video in between, but I'm basically just going to be doing exploration and mining and cataloguing. That's pretty much me inside of Starfield. At least I hope that's what I can do. I hope I'm not forced down the story path. Yes, I have to agree there, Chemical Romance. 2023 could be a big year because Hello Games is going to have to start competing with another competitor, not just the likes of Elite Dangerous. So yeah, it's a good point. Raven Wolf, you can always play No Man's Sky in between other games. It won't be killed off any more than it has for the past 6 years. Yeah, there is that too. No Man's Sky has always been my go-back-to game. You know, I did start playing Destiny 2, and I got really, really pulled into Destiny 2. And then when Monster Hunter World came up, I got pulled into that. When Elden Ring came out, I got pulled into that. And then I'd done a replay of Dragon's Dogma, because I heard Dragon's Dogma 2 was in development. But all the time, while I was playing those games, I was like, oh, I just want to jump into No Man's Sky. If I chuck on any sci-fi film like, you know, Star Wars or The Last Starfighter or, you know, Flight of the Navigator, as soon as I've watched that, I want to play No Man's Sky again. And I love my sci-fi movies. So I've always got that pull back to No Man's Sky. But that's mainly predominantly because No Man's Sky is the bread and butter of sci-fi sort of space adventures that's just chilled right now. You know, Elite Dangerous, even that game, you've got to get your own fuel, you've got to worry about running out of fuel in space and then hoping that a space rat comes and refuels you. I have got a Elite Dangerous video on my channel still, people. I did play it for a good number of months, but I just couldn't get into it. But I think Starfield is more like No Man's Sky. It's got that more arcadey feel. So I think I'm going to thoroughly enjoy Starfield. At least I hope I am. And it might take me away from No Man's Sky a little, but I'm still going to be doing the weekend missions. I'm still going to be covering news. I still want to do my random portal exploration live videos. But yes, the things that might just bottom out a bit, like they already have this month, is just content-y type videos to do, you know? And that's just the way it's going to be. Until there's content to cover, it's hard to do content. Wolfie Farquhar, hi Captain and chat. Well, hello there, buddy. Power Yapper, hello, and hello to you. UK Game, Mike UK. Morning all. Snow here in Wales today. Fudge, mate. We got a light touch of frost. Had to scrape the ice off my car before taking Ivy to work. Carnage Daddy, hello there again, buddy. We got ours in Quebec yesterday. The snow, I take it. Yes. Afternoon all, says Fee. Well, hello there, Fee. Yeah, coolio. We've got Kate Blair in the house. Thank you for dropping the links, especially to the Assistant No Man's Sky there, Wolfie, and also to Dr. Pong's channel. Dr. Pong's got an awesome channel. Be sure to check her out. So, Sir Captain Sir, where do I post Starship finds? Where do you guys look? I have got my own Discord, mate, but I very rarely use Discord. If you found something inside of the 905 hub, my actual hub zone of space, you can go on Wiki and you can find the 905 hub, NMSA 905. Yeah, if you find something in there that's really good, I'm more likely to cover it in a video. Otherwise, people can just go on the Coordinates Exchange. You can find whatever you want on the Coordinate Exchange now. Found 2 Cookass Solars you guys might like. Oh, nice, Carnage Daddy. What I would say is Starship Emporium. He covers starships across the whole verse. If you found some really cool starships, maybe jump into Starship Emporium's Discord and post them there. He's more likely to cover them than I. Unless they're inside of my NMSA hub. Coolio. We got Joey J. Hello there, Joey J. Nice one. Hello, hello, hello. I'm having a look for other sorts of questions and anything that's sort of goes into this. Sorry, my aunt is going through the end of. Oh yes, terrible news, Miyogi. My thoughts are with you, my friend. I do check in on you every now and again, and I might have to do that after this. I'll send you a little voice message or something. Make sure you're good. Oh yeah. Joey J, Donutception. Yes, Adam Mack is in the house, and he does drop a lot of donuts. Cool. I tested a few bugs on Switch, and it's much better than other versions. Okay, Miyogi, well, that's good to know, but I'm still finding that people on Switch are saying that they can't get capes, they can't equip capes, they've got no multiplayer, they've got no Quicksilver missions, which seems to be pretty much how it was on release. I am hoping that they do get some sort of update to Switch around the same time as we get another update for PlayStation, because I'd imagine we're getting an update for PSVR 2, so maybe they're going to be doing more optimization. I'm hoping to see a lot of the bugs gone. Dr. Pong just checked out. We'll post later today once I get some decent pics. Thanks much. Coolio, nice one. And we've got WM Furlonger. Hi all, needs to find a way to let other expedition prizes be available. I'm hoping what they do is add something inside of No Man's Sky that lets you rerun expeditions whenever you kind of wish. The only thing is the expedition systems seem to need to be renewed every now and again because of the amount of bases and comms balls that appear there. It's a bit of a tricky one. I don't know how Hello Games could implement it without there being a massive issue. The only way I can think of doing it is maybe you know what the NPCs inside of the Nexus. So if you go talk to Tethys, maybe he fires up Leviathan with the the Leviathans and all that sort of stuff, and you can go and run the expedition from him. And maybe it's a locked system where you can't base build, or maybe they just make all expeditions so you can't get given a base computer inside of that save until it converts or something. I don't know. There's ways and means they could do it, but I think it could be a little bit tricky. People have monetized ship customization in No Man's Sky. Shows they aren't listening to players. It's been the biggest arse since launch. Full customization are basically industry standards, says One Eye. Yeah, ship customization is something that a lot of people would like. But then there's the ship hunter community that are worried that if you bring in ship customization, it sort of diminishes the thrill of the hunt. However, I feel if they brought in ship customization that linked into ship scrapping, so you still have to find the ship, scrap it to get the parts to build a ship, I think that could work. And if they limit your repository on how many parts you can actually gather, so you can only build a certain massive combo of ships, then I think that could work quite nicely. But it's ways and means, and I don't know whether they'll go to that sort of scale. I hope they do, because a lot of the ships are modular. It could be done, it could. Especially since, Starfield, going back to that previous comment about, they're raising the bar this year with competition, Starfield has got ship customization, and it does look very modular in the same sort of sense that I feel that it could work inside of No Man's Sky, because you still got to find all those blueprints and parts inside of the Starfield universe. Again, if I'm going to planets and I find blueprints for parts, I'll be sure to cover those off in my videos. So, yeah, interesting. There's ways and means they could do it, and I'm sure ship customization could land if they really wanted to put it in there. No Man's Sky is my comfort game, along with Minecraft. Stuff, yeah, I agree. And No Man's Sky is a very chilled, sort of relaxing affair, and it's great for exploration. But then, saying that, exploration, after a while in No Man's Sky, I am seeing patterns. You can kind of guess, as soon as you see one or two creatures on a planet, you kind of know what other creatures you're going to see alongside it with the patterns. And when we first started playing No Man's Sky, you could land on a planet and there'd be no fauna whatsoever. It could be a completely dead planet, but you wouldn't know that till you landed, got out your ship, and started to explore. Now every planet seems to have freaking fauna, unless you're in a dead system or abandoned system. So it kind of takes that out. So now you're landing on planets, and you only stay now if you see something really special. So I think I must spend maybe top end 10 minutes on a planet. Bottom end like 15 to 20 seconds. If you watch my random Portal adventures, that's pretty much how I play in life. I spend a couple of seconds on a planet looking around at the fauna, looking at the flora, see what it's like at day, see what it's like at night. If it's nothing special and I've seen it 100 times, then I take off and go somewhere else. That's pretty much how I explore now. It's not a case of going over the hill to investigate to see what's over that hill, which Hello Games said that they would like players to do by adding in alien structures. They've added in alien structures like archives, but you can just find them using maps and things, and you're not going to find a different sort of alien structure, no matter how many planets you go to, they're all fairly generic, they're all fairly similar. And I don't know how they break that monotony and how they break up those patterns now that they've decided and fixed in the biome route, which again they said they would never do. When they were at GDC 2016, they said that they would have sliders and super formulas and they would never go down the biome route because people are very good at spotting patterns. This is their words, not mine. You can find the video on YouTube. In fact, I'll find it for you people. I'll play that segment. Let's go find that quickly because it goes against what they promised, what they were going to deliver into the universe when No Man's Sky was first sort of conceived. 20. Art direction. Boom. Oh, I didn't put in No Man's Sky. Oh. There we go, art direction, No Man's Sky, Grant Duncan. Let me see if I can get it to the right point. Now there's an advert playing at the moment, but I'll be right there in a sec. Let's just see what we've got. I just want rivers and more forests and lush planets. Well, inside of this video, they actually show some awesome swamp planets that they had in pre sort of launch state. And also they talk about jungle planets, which neither have made it in, have they? So, yeah. Let's just, I mean, I'll scroll to about here, I guess. I mean, I can't really hear it, so you guys can. Let's just turn that up. Let's close down my Winamp. There's Winamp. And then I can turn up the PC audio.
Tentacle-like roots destroying the old ruins. I don't know how you pronounce that. Guilin in China, which are again, a lot of these are natural formations, and it does make sense from a geography point of view, but when you see them, it is like an alien landscape. And I love these acid pools. I've used 2 images because it absolutely blows my mind that that's a real place. And the conclusion from these images is something we kind of realized quite early on, that we don't actually need to go full alien. We could actually just mimic the real world, and we get absolutely incredible spectacle just from doing that. Like the Giant's Causeway in Ireland. This has got a good folktale as well. Apparently, there was an Irish giant and a Scottish giant, and I think it was the Irish guy slagged off the Scottish.
So here he's pretty much looking up all different references on Earth of very strange Earth-like structures, and then they wanted to emulate all these sort of structures that you're seeing here inside of No Man's Sky, inside of their train generation, but using math. So yeah, we'll just press on anyway. He does get to the biome bit in a moment.
So what happened is the Irish guy started to build this causeway because he was going to go and beat him up, and the Scottish guy started to do the same thing, and they've actually got 2 examples of this causeway either side of the channel. I don't know who won, but I imagine it was the Scottish guy. So, what we wanted to do was create a few key concepts that would capture the vibe of this lost world, this No Man's Sky. And like, if anyone's seen the video we released years ago now, the E3 video where
So that was quite an important thing that he mentioned there. This piece of concept art that he drew, he's a freaking great artist. He drew this, and he said that they made the E3 trailer as close to this vibe and this picture as they could. So it was definitely scripted, definitely created, definitely handcrafted. Yet Sean Murray sat there barefaced in lots of interviews and said, no, this is just one planet of many. We just want to show you this one because it's quite an interesting one. No, they created it based on this concept and vibe, which I still feel is kind of elusive. We still haven't got that majestic awesomeness that was inside of the E3 trailers, and I'd like to see that appear inside of game.
You walk down to the watering hole and the antelope run away. This was the piece of key art that kind of influenced that. These are real quick sketches, but all trying to kind of get across the vibe that we wanted to have each time you fly down to a new planet. And what this did, it gave us targets. It meant we could tweak things like slider values to try to make these kind of events more likely. and you'll see they all, well, a lot of them have this kind of, these landmarks. And we always wanted to have that sense that you fly down, there's always something on the horizon that draws you to it, rather than just being a dull terrain. There's always something you see that you want to go.
Yeah, that's something that we just don't got. We just don't have these landmarks that pull your interest for you to explore the planet fully, to try and uncover the secrets of the planet. All the planets have the same sort of landmarks.
And obviously that's fine having all these nice little pictures, but actually getting that with a procedural system has been probably the most challenging thing. Like, I should mention this project has been by far the hardest thing any of us have ever done. And if you're thinking about doing a procedural game, I probably wouldn't. It's really difficult. I was trying to, I did a talk on Monday, and I was surrounded by people much better than I am, like Neil from BioWare, and I was asking him if you might consider, you know, taking the strength of BioWare and maybe creating some procedural tools for the rest of us to use, so we don't have to create them all ourselves, because it's just too much work for us. So procedural whiteboxing, I'm getting distracted, is the idea.
Okay, now we've skipped it on to where it gets to like procedural soup. Without rules, there is only soup. So if you don't add rules, things go a bit squiffy. And he sums it up a bit better than me. But then I don't know whether we've missed the biome bit in here, or whether we've gone past that. So, but trust me, it's in here where he actually says that people are very good at spotting patterns. And yeah. People are very good at spotting patterns, and they're going to land, they're going to take off. And I don't know whether he says it at the start or towards the end of this video. But if you haven't seen this video, I strongly urge you to go watch it.
So the way we kind of get around this is, again, I wish I could do it all myself, but I work with some really talented guys and girls, and it wasn't a pleasant experience, but there's a lot of back and forth. We work together, we're teamwork, it's always rosy, and there's never any arguments, and we all agree.
Well, hello there, Dr. Pond says maybe if they could mix biomes, like toxic and radioactive. Yes, I've often thought that. I mean, they've started doing it with the exotic planets, like you can get a bubble lush now, or you can get some sort of, other sorts of those exotic planets intermixed with others. But yeah, they need to do that a little bit more, or even have multiple biomes, so it's frost in the North Pole and South Pole, and then the middle's lush or something. That'd be cool.
And we all do what's best for the game. But no, essentially what happens is, we'd implement a system, we'd load up the game, I would be offended with my eye.
We got good old Thunder Humping Turtle Duck Interloper Incorporated in the chat, people. Good mate of mine. Hello there, Thunder. Welcome, matey. Yeah, sounds like a broken record at this point. I know, Thunder. I'm still playing a video from 2015, and it's what now? It's nearly 10 years on. Yeah, it's freaking insane. But this is all the stuff that was said in 2015, before the launch of No Man's Sky in 2016, of what players will be experiencing, what players will have. It's not just one or two interviews with Sean Murray. This is the whole freaking dev team. It's like they're working on a completely different game, and I'm really hoping that we see some of these ideas appearing in whatever their new title is. But for me, it's like 6 years too late.
These would bleed, and I would then paint over and try to stop whatever was happening. And then what would happen is whoever I was working with, normally Sean. Like, I've known Sean I've worked with him for 7 years now, and we have a very healthy relationship, so we don't mess around. I just say, Sean, let's look shit, let's change this. And what he's really good at is looking at what I've done, and then he makes me a better artist. He says, why have you done this in the paint over? Why have you done that? And there's some artists who are really good at knowing what they're doing, whereas I've just always been a little bit more gut-driven. I just do things because I think they look nice. But being a robot man like Sean is, he thinks, why are you doing this? And I think, I don't know, because it looks nice. And what he was really good at doing was saying, well, oh, so I noticed you've put like bushes around the base of that tree, or you've put little rocks and things like that. And
I love his impression of Sean Murray. Why are you doing it like that? It's brilliant.
Like, yeah, of course, that's what you do when you're doing environments and games. And so all he does is, well, why don't we just tweak the environment system so that every time you place a tree, then it does that. And so that's like a really simple example of just like one of the little rules we have is, it's all these tiny little rules and systems that basically make it more likely for the procedural result to be like something I would have painted, whether that's a good...
Hello there, Sarah. The only way we can get this level for AI to make advances in ProcGen, probably not in our lifetime. Well, the thing is Hello Games were actually saying that they've already accomplished all this. He's talking like the game already does this, and they've already managed to get it working. And there's other videos where they talk about the super formula, which isn't being used, and I wonder whether that's because... Or they had to remove the super formula for whatever reason, legal ones probably. The game is how it is now. I don't know, but I've got a whole playlist on Hello Games and what they said on the making of No Man's Sky up to release, and then what we got after release and my thoughts and feelings. I've got a massive playlist of all these videos all strung together, all the best bits, all the little bits, all the little tidbits. Go watch that playlist of the making of No Man's Sky on my channel. If I can find it after this is rendered and everything, I'll put a link in the top corner up there above my head for people to go see.
Good thing or not is for you to decide. We also have rules when it comes to things like shapes, and we talk about believability. Like, say, like a sort of swamp environment that's been, when the planet's been terraformed, it'll have...
You see how he said the word swamp biome there for a second, but this is a swamp planet, how swamp planets used to look. And take into account, this was before No Man's Sky released, and he's got an in-game screenshot there of a swamp biome. Swamp biomes were never in-game at release.
It'll have generated this climate and ecosystem, and again, based on all these nice little universe rules, like how far away from the sun, or just the minerals in the soil, and that's all just like nice little controllable factors. But what happens is we know that we can tag certain types of leaf and tree and branch as being matching to a climate. So essentially what that means is on a swamp planet, you will get swamp leaves and swamp branches. That sounds like it's limiting, but it works over a huge number of things. And it means that can also get filtered through to creatures. So in a sort of damp environment, you're going to get these more cold-blooded, sort of waxy, damp-looking creatures, and also some of the color from the environment will leak through to the creatures, so there'll be natural camouflage. Or in the same way, we can have the opposite of that, where we can add in props that are complementary, so they'll stand out, and that's when the real fun begins. And what I love talking to Sean about is how objects get placed on a terrain. And I know for a fact this is something that anyone who's ever worked with procedural generation with a terrain will know exactly what I'm talking about. That when you place objects using noise, humans just know there's something not quite right.
So you can see here how he's talked about how the planets would negate and sort of change the actual creatures. But there is a section inside this video where he talks about biomes and that they didn't want to go down the biome route, or else it would be very much like... pretty much any generic game like the works of Minecraft and things like that. I don't think I'm going to be able to find the actual section where he says about it. But yeah, so it's a tricky one to pick out, but it's somewhere in here. The future has history. I don't know whether it was at the start or whether it's further on over here. I mean, a lot of it looks fairly similar, doesn't it? So it's a tricky one to find, but trust me, it's in there somewhere. Where he says that there's no way that they would be putting in fixed biomes. They're going to be using sliders and all sorts of other shenanigans to actually build their worlds. Let's see if it was around here. No, this is just before the bit that I was talking about. A dream of architecture, infinite universe. No, so I don't know whether I'm going to be able to find it. But watch the video because it's in there, and there's lots of other stuff in there. It's a great video. And I really do hope that they're going to be looking at their previous videos and sort of say, have we delivered this? No? Okay, well, let's try and deliver it this year. And I'm hoping that they build more towards it. So there we go, people. I know it sounds a bit like an unbroken record of still looking at the past and still wishing for a game that probably will never be. And I know people say, well, it's probably down to the tech spec. Well, a lot of the demos that Sean was doing, he was playing on a PlayStation 4, and he was boasting at how powerful the PlayStation 4 was. And he was saying, yes, there will be limitations, like how fast you can fly the ship and how quick the things are drawn in. But right now, PlayStation 4 is powerful enough to handle all of this. And a lot of the tech demos were done on PlayStation 4. So it's a little bit, yeah, I would like to see them do a little. It's almost like they had the game working, And then, for whatever reason, maybe the flood done more damage than what they're willing to actually put out there. Maybe we was on a previous de-evolved version that's only managed to evolve one way now. Who knows? I don't know whether we'd ever know the full backstory. But I'm hoping to see that 2023 is a big year for updates, and I'm hoping we get a little bit more into the verse. I mean, this has gone past a normal length of a cup of tea episode, hasn't it, people in the viewerverse? So, yeah, I've just put out some stats about Steam, talked about my hopes and dreams for 2023, and some of those hopes and dreams are still based in 2015. There we go, people in the viewerverse. I'm going to end on off now because this is a bit too lengthy for a cup of tea episode. It's tripped into my lunch break, the little people. I've still got to go and eat something. Until next time, people, goodbye, and goodbye again.